Hello.
Hello.
Hello. You might have noticed that it's a full 8 minutes past 9 and not 9
Oops.
p.m. as we promised, and that is because
Sorry.
of some tech issues. But if you can
Yeah.
hear both of us and you heard the music, then those tech issues are over. James, can I hear you?
Yes. I can hear you.
You can hear me.
Can they hear me?
People in the
The
chat, can
thing
you hear
is,
James? Mention it if you can't hear James.
this happened on April Fool's Day. It's really,
It is annoying, isn't it? That we
it's,
promised it wasn't going to be an April Fool, and then it
yeah.
kind of looked like we weren't going to do it
And we
after all of that.
feasibly could have come on with no audio and then still tried to claim
It was, yeah.
that we weren't joking.
The chat for a good long while was still talking about Trebeks, but has finally
Fortunately,
confirmed
yeah.
that they can hear both of us. While we were sorry for that delay, while we were waiting, a lot of people were discussing Trebeks and asking what Trebeks were, and I don't think if you haven't dug back into to the Loremen lore and found out what a Trebek is, I don't think we can help you, can we, James?
No, 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 no. You need to do your own. You need to find your own tray bake.
Or sheet cake, which sounds worse.
Or sheet cake. Yeah, that sounds bad. That sounds like someone from The Wire.
Yes, I was
about
thinking about Senator Clay from The Wire. Is this Representative Clay? Can't remember. Not important.
He probably gets promoted or demoted.
Yeah.
And also, just before we went live, my cat jumped onto the shed. Fingers crossed it was my cat, because it really was. I've never been in the shed when that's happened before, and it's very loud, very scrabbly, and I don't know if the cat is still up there or if it's not a cat, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, we know what you mean. You mean a zombie.
Baby zombie.
Small zombie.
Baby zombie.
Baby zombies.
Yep.
Zombie the baby, yep. Notorious for the jumps, aren't they? They're such jumpers. You never see a zombie jump, but a baby zombie. It's that'd be
like the one in Trainspotting.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, like a face hugger, but
a baby.
But with that new baby, with that new zombie baby smell.
Well, we've already got a mooey warning in the chat. I think this is probably a record. 11 minutes in, people are speculating that the creature on the roof is in fact a mooey.
I think they're weirdly silent. Yeah. I don't think they scrabble.
I think they're
too
probably
dignified.
Emit a high whine, like a whistle.
A high keening sound.
That sort of thing.
Seems to come from everywhere at once.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how they get you, because you don't know where they are.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the April Fool stream.
Welcome.
It seems like it should be a pun, but it's not.
Nope.
I really pushed the Fool stream ahead pun, but that didn't really work.
It felt like a stretch, because what has this got to do with trains?
Yes, exactly. Or no, it's trains or boats. Maybe old boats. Did they go full steam ahead?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Titanic. Well, no, the Titanic probably did. So I'm starting to see a connection.
Yes.
The live stream that couldn't fail.
That's what happened with the Titanic. They downloaded a new version of OBS and then deleted all of their Twitch information, and they didn't realise until it was already 1 minute to 9. That's what happened. The arrogance of them on that boat.
The hubris.
The hubris.
Oh, well, hello, people.
Bird mug.
It is a nice
Some
mug.
people were enjoying the mug, so I just
quite rightly
shout out for the mug for the people who are here just for the mug. The mug has its own OnlyFans if anyone is interested for more pictures of a cup with some birds on it.
I've got a different mug.
Oh,
It's just got a pattern.
What is that, like an Isle of Arran pattern? Is it?
I don't know. I never met him. No, I can't. There's words on there, but I can't understand them.
No, they're not. You're not designed to be looking at the bottom of a mug.
Not whilst it's full of hot,
steaming hot folklore.
Is he? Yes, of course. I'm wearing a minimum of double denim.
Where's the second denim? The trousers.
The trues, yeah.
And the underpants and socks.
No, I'm not quadding.
No. You're not
just
quintuple denim.
Yeah,
also denim
my denim
glasses.
cape is in the wash. Dibble denim, I like that.
So, we promised the listeners a bit of folklore / fake lore fun.
Fake lore, yes, and massive thanks to Mike Grieve, not my PE teacher. Fingers crossed. Well, not fingers crossed. If it is. Well, he's done all right for himself.
Yes, huge
turned it around.
Huge props to Computer Wizard. Do we still say that? Computer Whiz? It's a very 90s phrase.
Yeah.
To the Computer Whiz, Mike Grieve. Which in those days that was just anyone who knows what Internet Explorer was in the 90s. But now you have to really be good, and he is.
It was anyone who knew that you didn't have to phrase it as an actual question when you asked Jeeves.
Yes. And Mike Reeve is there in the chat confirming that he is not your PE teacher, because if he was, he'd be saying your PE teacher's catchphrase, Shorts James, what's the story?
What's the story? Well, they're like trousers, but not as long.
Great gag.
What a time to be alive. Should we recap the...
Yes. Set the hell
clause
out of it up.
So I've got four little stories, all in the format of Mike Reeves' Loremen folklore generator. And one of them is actually based on a true story. True folklore.
A genuine bit of nonsense. Now, the important thing to note is I have no knowledge of which of these is real.
So, this legend comes from the book Beckwith's Spirits of Tipton by Professor Winston Spalding. In 1407, the devil himself exploded a witch named Mistress de Melzer into pieces in the inn The Two Horses. That was number one.
I find that one plausible. I think because I know exploding a witch is like a classic Mike Reeve fake lore device, but it could happen, couldn't it?
It's got to come from somewhere.
And The Two Horses sounds like a realistic name for a pub. I'm putting that on the maybe pile.
Okay. If it is a real one, I'm not going to pick the category horses. I might pick the category witch pieces. There is a legend. Number two. There is a legend told by the people of Newton Aycliffe. A witch named Mother Roscoe gave birth to a twig in the stables of Ramsey Farm.
And I didn't want to say it when you trailed this earlier, but if it's that one, I'm furious. Like, isn't Newton Aycliffe's the northeast of England as well, isn't it? So I feel like I would have heard about that. And gave birth to a twig. It sounds gnarly and disgusting.
Mother Roscoe. I'm guessing it wasn't the only thing that she did.
In order to become a mother, you mean? It can't just be you had one twig child. And then you can't call yourself mother. And also, where's your child?
Yeah.
It's this twig.
I don't know if she gave birth to a twig or maybe she just found a twig in her pants and was like, I must have given birth to it because I'm a witch.
I bet a nickname would have been
Mother.
Twig Pants Roscoe, I think. So
Roscoe.
I'm putting that with hope in my heart. I'm putting that on the no pile. I don't think that's real. Okay.
Okay. In Hertfordshire, they speak of a ghost of a woman who sits in a tree and filled a secret room with bats at Markyate Cell.
I was fully on board with this one until she filled the room with bats, which seems...
Secret room? Would you have preferred dust?
I don't know. If you're going to fill a room with bats, at least tell people about it. And it could be like one of those installations at the Tate where you can just go in and be with the bats. And the queue's absolutely massive. What's the point of... we can all claim to have filled a room with bats, but it's a secret. Like that, those bats go to another school. I don't know. It's on the maybe pile because it sounds like it sounds like she could have claimed to have filled a secret room with bats.
Okay, the final one. There is a legend which is told by the people of God Manchester in 1756.
It's the slightly better version of Manchester.
I thought it's someone who's exasperated with Manchester. God, Manchester.
I thought it went God Manchester, Manchester, Devil Manchester. The worst
God
Manchester.
On the seventh day, God created man. Maybe it's a shortening of that famous T-shirt. On the seventh day, God created Manchester.
Yeah, the shortening of the entire history of time from the Bible to the creation of Manchester.
To the Industrial Revolution.
Just God Manchester, yeah. It was a real abbreviation.
It's a big portmanteau. That's a bold one.
By the way, dog, is of course, don't forget Purgatory Manchester, which, as we all know, is Manchester.
Is Salford?
Yeah, it's probably so. They've got the Lowry. That's all right. That's nice.
Yeah.
I'm just showing how cultured I am by naming a variety of different art galleries now, all around the country.
I've completely forgotten the name of the Croydon of Manchester. Otherwise, I'd have said that instead of Salford.
Gorton, the Croydon of Manchester.
No, the southern bit, the bit underneath Manchester that smells.
I don't know.
Come on, everyone.
See, we can Google things during podcast recordings, but when it's a live stream, we just say something and wait for people in the chat to come in with their opinions.
To Google it.
So it's a much slower. It is more like Ask Jeeves in that we're just asking our weirdly knowledgeable but inaudible butlers to. And in this case, they are really letting us down. With a lot of people are suggesting that the sewers is the place you're referring to.
No. London. Nice
clearly a
one.
Manchester, a Mancunian getting a dig.
That is what someone from Manchester would say. Yeah. Oh, it's the place that they flooded Hayfield to get water for. They made a reservoir in Hayfield because they needed water presumably because they were just so smelly.
I don't remember this, I'm afraid.
No.
I shouldn't have interrupted. Move on.
Anyway, there is a legend. There is a legend which is told by the people of God Manchester. In 1756, a giant hog savaged a little pig in the churchyard of St. Linden.
I shouldn't laugh. I mean, I'm a vegan. I shouldn't laugh at the savaging of a little pig. But I feel like if a giant hog is doing the savaging, the size of the savagee isn't that important. Like a giant hog savaged a pig, I would have gone, oh. But a giant hog savaged a little pig. I find that funny. Why? I don't know.
It implies that it's one of the three.
Yes.
The famous three little pigs.
3 little pigs. I was just thinking, I keep getting spam emails that say, we need your help bringing this product to market. And I can't not visualise like an angry pig in a sack in that context. I'm so un-tech savvy that the only thing I've ever heard of being taken to market is like an angry squealing. So I feel like I'd love to be like, I need your help bringing this product to market. And then the Kickstarter video is just me fighting with a pig. But I cannot take to market on my own. Like, he's everywhere.
Some idiots greased it. Why would
walls.
They do that?
Please, I need your help to bring this product to market. Just 10 grand. That's all I'm asking.
Has anyone got a big net? Right,
or a really large hog to pin.
Evidently, yeah.
To pin and subdue my little pig.
So we will we'll reveal the answers later. But just as a quick recap, so we've got.
By the way, I'm putting that on the no pile. I'm taking a gamble. So
kind of
two
guessed.
no's, two maybes.
So from your no pile is Devil himself exploding a witch.
Yep.
Into pieces.
Into
the
pieces.
Two horses.
Not into cubes.
A witch on the maybe pile is a witch giving birth to a twig in a stable.
No, that is on the definitely didn't happen pile.
Well, then there's three. There's three on the definitely didn't happen pile.
No. There's the
maybe
room
pile.
Full of bats. Room full of bats.
Yeah, on the maybe pile is woman ghost in a tree.
Yes.
Who has a sidebar in filling secret rooms with bats.
Yes.
And I think this is the other no was the big hog and the little pig in Manchester.
No, I tell you what, I'm going to go with the maybes are big hog and also room full of bats.
Big hog, room full of bats. Definitely a no for little twig child.
Apparently that twig grew up to be Prime Minister John Tory. Is that a real Prime Minister of Britain, or is that just
John Tory?
Is that just what Labour voters think all of the Prime Ministers are called? You know, bloody John Tory. John Major, would that be? This is descended into chaos even before we started the stream, so it's unfair for me to blame the chat for that.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so I've got So the truth will be revealed later.
How exciting!
Mm.
Now go ahead,
Alasdair.
James.
How's your April 1st going? April Fool Day. The Poisson d'Avril.
I thought about making a little paper fish and sticking it on my back and pretending that a French person had done it to me, but I just got so angry at the idea of it that I didn't do it. So there'll be no Gallic amusement for me. I did do an April Fool's paradox on Twitter. How many people can say that? I don't know. So I this morning I tweeted that I would tweet an April Fool's prank, and then I didn't tweet an April Fool's prank, rendering that tweet itself an April Fool's prank, rendering that tweet a factual statement and therefore not an April Fool's prank. And you see how that continues infinitely. You don't seem very impressed, James.
I don't think it's a paradox though, because I think no, but it's true. But that's not.
What do you mean?
Well, it's true that you tweeted April Fool's.
Yes, exactly. So if I tweeted a prank, then the tweet saying that I was going to tweet a prank is true, and therefore not a prank. Yeah.
I hope you deleted that at midday.
I can see that at least some people in the chat agree that that is at least a paradox. That's
all right.
That's been my look. I accept criticism. Getting on Twitch and describing things you tweeted earlier in the day is not necessarily compelling live streaming. So what I did out of respect for the tradition of April Fools is I looked up one of my favourite hoaxes from the past, and that is I really like stories of entombed animals. Are you familiar with any of these, James?
No.
Well, think of
the pyramid,
like the angry piglet that's in my walls now. No, they are animals which are found inside rocks inexplicably. I think like the young Earth creationists are quite excited because it means like there was this millions of year old rock, but then inside it there was a Twix. You know that sort of thing, like so that
Twix.
Like a new, like or a marathon bar. So it can't be
not
that
a million-year-old Twix.
Not a million-year-old Twix. Don't be absurd. Or like the zombie cat on your roof, people are suggesting, like encrusted in earth and soil. So, in the 18th century, in a sandstone mine in Nybro, Sweden, two quarry workers, two miners, were cracking great lumps off the sandstone, and one rock cracked open to reveal a frog that was alive.
What?
Apparently, a living frog. And their supervisor came round. His name was Groberg, and he called him over to investigate, and he sort of poked it and prodded it, and it seemed to be alive, but it seemed to be quite sluggish. And this is where the story becomes quite unpleasant. He, according to an article in Scientific American, he lost his patience and beat the creature to death with a shovel, which is very sad for the frog and is sad for science. And also,
I think it's sad for that man.
Yes, well,
he got so upset with a frog.
It is sad for him. Later that day, according to the same article, Groberg regretted his action. And this is an amazing quote. He regretted, I'm going to try and do a Swedish accent, being the slayer of that extraordinary animal which might have lived for many hundreds of years within its stony prison. Yeah. What? And also, the biggest problem I have with it is the idea that you could beat a frog to death with a spade, because with a shovel, because then if you hit a frog once with a shovel, you haven't got like the corpse of a frog. You've got a stain. Is what you've got.
Where's it gone?
Yeah, you've got a horrible mess, but you haven't got. Apparently, he recovered the body, and it was given to scholars who studied it. But I do not think. What was he
trying to get the frog to do, though, that it wouldn't do, that made him so angry?
Exactly, as a 4,000-year-old. A 4,000-year-old frog. I don't know.
Explain yourself, frog.
And so various frogs like this have turned up, but only one of them is still extant. There is one frog in existence that was found inside a rock, and it is in the UK, in our very own Brighton, in a museum called, let me check the name. What's the name? I did not write down the name. Okay, in the Booth Museum of Natural History in Brighton, or to give it its more precise name, the Booth Museum of Natural History, and one really suspicious frog-based exhibit. There is a flint nodule about this big. In fact, I don't know why I'm describing it. I can show the viewers what it looks like. There you go. That is a flint nodule containing within it a mummified frog.
I've got an idea how that frog got in.
All right, James, let's hear it. What's your theory?
That big hole.
The hole, you think? Well, what you can't see just out of frame in that picture is the other half of the other part of the flint nodule. So the idea it was cracked open by some quarry workers in Lewis, in around the turn of the century.
Lewis.
That is, of course, the town Lewis, not the Isle of Lewis.
Or the TV show that you used to love.
Or the formerly non-alt-right TV show Lewis. And
Lewis.
And the problem with that frog in a rock is that it was given to the museum by one Charles Dawson. Chucky D. And he's
not that one.
A
different one.
A fairly famous. He's fairly well known because throughout his lifetime he discovered, according to Dr. Miles Russell of Bournemouth University, he was an amateur archaeologist who discovered 16 amazing finds.
Wow!
On a par with the frog, including he found a 2,000-year-old Chinese bronze bowl in a medieval site in Dover. Man, explain that. In a Roman ironworks, he found a Roman statuette which appeared to be made of cast iron, something that the Romans didn't have the technology to do. And most famously, and I think you and the listeners will be familiar with this, he discovered what he called Eoanthropus dawsoni, the more famously known as Piltdown Man, the legendary missing link between ape-like creatures and friend of the podcast, humans. But anybody who's heard of Piltdown Man should be aware that Piltdown Man was a hoax. Just like all of the rest of these really sound strongly like. Basically, this guy was...
Was it a monkey sewed to a fish?
It wasn't quite as bad as that. It was a human skull and an orang-utan, which literally means man of the forest, an orangutan, an orange man's mouth. Deliberately created to look like the missing link and conveniently provide scientists with a colonial mindset with evidence that humanity actually arose in Europe when that didn't happen.
That's his vibe.
That was the vibe at the time. So basically, this guy is like, it's like Murder, She Wrote. It's like that Murder, She Wrote theory where Jessica Fletcher is the serial killer. And so every time he would turn up, weird and mysterious items would appear.
Clanking as he walked.
Isabelle
with a big coat on.
It still take people are only relatively recently proving conclusively that he was the one responsible. Isabelle de Groot did a fairly recent study that concluded that she thinks he is responsible. She wrote that he's responsible for the greatest scientific crime ever committed in Britain in the form of the Piltdown Man. But what made him clever, and this is what you might appreciate as a connoisseur of hoaxes, is that it wasn't always him who found the stuff. So he obviously wanted the praise, but often he'd be like, "Oh, James, why don't you dig over there? What's that over there by that rock? Oh, that's like it's a Happy Meal. So I guess I guess the Vikings
didn't have the technology for Happy Meals.
That's incredible, isn't it? The little wind up toy of the pig from the Lion King. Oh,
yeah,
amazing.
They didn't have the technology for only 4 McNuggets. Yeah.
So
what a rotter.
That's one of my favourite hoaxes. I don't know if I'd call him my favourite hoaxer because he did real damage to friend of the show.
He sounds like
science.
Almost a prankster.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, this is bordering on a prank. Full Miller Bird is saying, didn't British scientists pull apart the first platypus they were sent because they thought it was a hoax? Of course, the correct answer is that British scientists pulled apart the first everything they get because they were bastards. Just horrible. Just like a Swedish person hitting a frog with a spade. That's the first instinct.
In his defence, he wasn't a scientist.
No, he wasn't. He was a sort of weird quarry poet with his I was trapped inside this stony prison. Like, how can you 1 minute be batting a miracle with a spade and a second later just knocking out absolutely brilliant quotes? Crazy.
Well, that's a love. I've got a few hoaxes. Practical jokes, you could say. There's always been
jokeses?
Practical jokeses. There's always been something that's caught my eye in your friend of mine, Law of the Land, Westford and Simpson's Law of the Land.
Lovely book.
At the back, there's a there's an index. That's where they always are. And what has always caught my eye is in the P section. There is an entry called Practical Jokes with a subcategory involving corpses and/or gibbets. And a subcategory of that subcategory, warnings against.
I've got a picture of a gibbet. You asked me to find a picture of a gibbet?
Yes, a gibbet, just in case anyone doesn't know what a gibbet is, because some people don't know what a tray bake is.
This is a gibbet. I'm very upset because Red Queen Liz is accusing my Swedish accent of sounding a little bit South African. So I'm going to demonstrate what my South African accent would sound like, and it's sadly different, as I'll show you this picture of a gibbet, which is from a book called Death's Doings, I think it's called. Death's Doings, that's how South African would say it. Death's Doings. And this is the most light-hearted picture of a gibbet I could find, as a very cheeky skeleton holds a cat o' nine tails, and a man who kind of looks like he's into it hangs from a gibbet.
Has the skeleton come out of the map? Or is
No,
it a separate incident?
You're right. The skeleton does look like he's walking away, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Maybe he's finished whipping him and he's off.
Right. And there's a very... Has the skeleton noticed the dog?
I don't know if the dog can see the skeleton or not. Maybe the dog's barking at the skeleton. Yeah.
You'd think that, like, a skeleton's, like, kryptonite is dogs. In a way, because of the bones. I mean, because of dogs love bones.
That's a good point. And also, people in the chat are pointing out that that a gibbet is the cage that is the missing part of that drawing. So
yeah,
that was a bit unreal. I just wanted to show that picture that I thought was funny. I'm sorry.
It's a fun picture.
All right, it's a gallows. All right, guys, leave me alone.
So yeah, after hanging someone, they put them in a sort of a human-shaped cage and hang that up. Beginning of Willow. Val Kilmer at the beginning of Willow. Yeah. He's been gibbeted at that point. And that used to be a real thing. And people used to go and look at them, these mouldering bodies.
Yeah, because they didn't have reality TV.
That's true.
So
in Burpham, in what? Sussex, Burpham, in Sussex, in 1771, a highwayman named Jack Upperton was caught, hanged in Horsham, and gibbeted in his hometown of Burpham. And apparently the following Sunday, the whole village came out to have a little look.
Just look.
It must have smelled as well. Like just an actual dead body.
Yeah.
It's so odd. That seems so odd.
And what do you do once you've seen the dead body? It's like it's not like going to see a room full of bats where there's an element of interactivity.
And you want to keep it a secret. The whole village.
And you're in on the secret. You go and you see the dead body, and then what? What do you do?
It's it's meant to be the warning, isn't it? Say like, don't follow in his footsteps and become a highwayman because you'll end up famous.
That'll be you, kid, in show business. And what could be worse?
And they didn't take it down or anything. It just slowly decayed over time.
So gibbets were sort of self-cleaning.
Well, yeah, they just dropped down. And apparently, by the 1880s, the whole area was overgrown and you couldn't really see the actual gibbet anymore. It was just a stump. It was thought to be a haunted area that if you went to try and find it, you'd get lost and turned around. How did they
develop that reputation?
I don't know.
Well, it had simply been formerly the hanging place of a mouldering corpse.
For ages. And in the 1880s, a local was cutting wood for himself one March evening, and he was just getting ready to go home.
Cutting wood for himself, presumably not a euphemism of any kind. He was cutting his own wood, if you understand my meaning.
Of an evening. And he heard a bunch of people approaching, and he hid. Why? And he heard one of them say...
Why did he hide?
Because I don't know. Because he was cutting his own wood.
Yes, it clearly was a euphemism. It's the only explanation for the extant facts. Why else would he hide?
And he heard and he heard an old man saying, somewhere just near here is where the last highwayman was hung in chains, and it is said his ghost walks these paths at night. And our hero went, and here he is too. And the group of people ran away.
That is quite a good prank. That's a very good prank.
That's a good prank.
Yes. Although, if his trousers were around his ankles, they might just have been reacting to...
That's his excuse for why a group of elderly people ran away from him.
It was my witticism. I did a prank.
I said a funny joke. Do your flies up, Gerald. No one likes your jokes. Right. Another one happened in Whalley.
Whatty? Whalley? Whalley? I'm going to have to ask. Where's Whalley?
In Lancashire.
Of course.
I guess it's near Whalley Range.
I'm not familiar with
it. So.
Is that near Wizard Whitebeardton?
Yes. It's near Walleye on Walloo. and all the things that almost exactly the same. But they're not.
And of course, a strong man wearing a singlet. I seem to remember a lot of them in Where's Wally? For American listeners, Where's Waldo?
Waldo.
And for listeners in every other country, a different name.
Different names.
What's he called in France? I don't even want to think about it.
Poisson.
It's going to be Où est le gentleman de le stripy top? It's like I'm
like you're going to be able to pick him out in France.
I'm going to find it out now.
What's Wally called in France?
Où est Charlie?
What? Charlie.
Où est Charlie? Ugh, that's disgusting. I feel sick.
There was a great...
It's not even alliterative.
You cut out a similar moment from the little trailer episode where, because I couldn't quite remember what they called it in France. I was like, I think they call it Poisson Day or something. And then on the audio, you just hear you tap, 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 tapping. And then you go, oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah, every one of our episodes has a sound that I edit out, which sounds like this. Oh, the French. I can't believe what they've done now.
So,
really pleased I didn't hit the shortcut key for end stream there as I hammered blindly
my God, yeah,
on
that
the
was
keys.
An actual keyboard.
I know, that was the actual keyboard. I could have. That was me squashing the frog of our live stream there.
So this happened. This was a story that was told in the 1890s in the catchment area of Whalley Workhouse.
That's one of the good workhouses.
Quote.
That's what you want to buy in that area if you want to get into that workhouse.
Yeah. Yeah, let me just get my blankies here.
Get
my blankies in order. Aye. It was Whalley Workhouse, and it was snowing hard. A chap went to Workhouse, and he was asked to be put up for neat. Workhouse master said, "Nay, lad, I've nowhere I can put thee. I can't have this up with him, we'll see about it, but there's nowhere for thee but mortuary." Well, he says, "Nobody'll hurt me there." "All right, I'll give thee a couple of blankets, and I can make this cell as comfortable as I can." So he laid down on the stone floor, and he wrapped himself in blankets. And it were very cold and very drafty. And he suddenly thought, "Yon chap in yon coffin, he's not feeling cold, and he don't feel draft, so I don't see why we shouldn't change places. However, I'll give you one blanket, and I'll have t'other." So he laid down in coffin and fell fast asleep. Next morning, workhouse master came along and went to the bundle on floor, wrapped up in blanket, and says, "Now, lad, here's the porridge." No answer. And he says, "Lad, porridge, here's the porridge," and nudged him with his foot. And a voice from coffin said, "If he won't have it, I will." And they found workout master 3 days later, 5 miles off in barn.
Well,
also ran away.
I have to say, James, that accent was better than my Swedish accent and a delight to listen to. However, I don't know if this was Zoom or just a consequence of the action. I have no idea what happened in that story. I really look forward to listening back to it in the podcast to have any idea what you just said.
Basically, a man the only bed was given to him was in the mortuary, and it's cold and drafty in there. So he thinks, "Well, that coffin looks warm." Removes the corpse.
Yep,
one man removes the corpse from the coffin, gives it a blanket for humorous reasons, gets in the coffin, goes to sleep. In the morning, the workhouse master comes down with some porridge for him. Kindly, like he's let him stay. What turns out to be an actual corpse fiddler, and he's given him free range in his mortuary all night long. And he goes to give the bundle on the floor, who he assumes is the man, the porridge. And the bundle is a corpse, doesn't do anything. And then a voice comes from the coffin saying, "I'll have the porridge then, mate."
Terrifying him because he thinks it is the
and
skeleton.
He runs away and is found in a barn.
And as you said the word corpse fiddle there, I had that horrible moment. You know the way in the 90s TV shows would have a certain word they were waiting to be said And as soon as you said corpse fiddler, I just visualised those words flashing and like confetti falling, and someone, I probably get gunged. Someone in the chat wins a prize. Yeah. If you had corpse fiddler on your card, on your Loremen play along at home card, you have won. Lots of compliments for your accent there from the people in the chat. It was very much enjoyed.
It's my favourite voice to do. You just got to imagine you've got two tongues and a loose larynx. And there's various other stories of people who when there were gibbets, people would be down. A group of lads would be down the pub. They'd dare each other to take soup to the body that had been gibbeted.
Oh, lads, hey, what are they
bloody
like?
Lads?
You know,
bloody
lads.
These are like the original WKD advert.
Yeah, I know what it's
like.
And
they would go.
You're out in the lads. You've had a few soups, and things start to get a little bit crazy.
You've had a couple of tankards, and you think, let's go and pretend to feed a corpse some soup.
Some stew and a bouillon chaser.
So they go off, but one of them would sneak and would know a shortcut to get to the gibbet first, and would get there and hide. And the person would come up and who'd been dead, and would hold the soup up to the corpse, and then the japester would go, "Oh, blowing it, it's too hot," or something.
Yeah.
And the person in question would invariably went mad from shock.
Yep. That's how most good pranks end, with one person going mad from shock because of hearing the ghostly words, "I don't like minestrone," or something like that. Cream and mushroom. Is it cream and mushroom or cream of mushroom? It's a non-vegan one, so I never eat it.
Cream-o mushroom.
Cream of mushroom. So how do you cream a mushroom?
I
don't think you should be using cream as a verb. As a noun, I'm happy. Once it moves into verb territory, I'm anxious.
There's cream. You cream a tomato as well.
Do you?
The classic Heinz is a cream of tomato soup.
I wouldn't. No. You've never seen me cream a tomato, and you never will.
Fair enough.
There's nothing in there.
Yeah. So I mean, those are the with a spade. Someone said that's how you cream.
That's how you cream a mushroom. You cream a mushroom with a spade.
Because it wouldn't give you the answers.
Tell me the fungus. It's
how did you get
4,000 years? I've been asking it for over 2 minutes. Smash.
Oh, that mushroom could have lived for another couple of 100 years.
It's sort of a case of the goose that laid the golden egg, but more probably an ordinary frog that still got smashed.
Oh. Yeah. Just a quick frog. Someone looked away and then looked back.
Like a cynical person might say that a frog hopped on a rock and that was what happened, but
So I'm going to need to do. I'm now getting down to the subcategory of warnings against.
Okay, because we like to have a moral dimension to the Loremen podcast.
Corpses and or gibbets.
Yeah.
And also for us, I'm going to need to put a movie warning out there.
All right.
You'll see why.
Movie warning, everyone. If you're not prepared to engage with movie content, for your own sake, step back now.
Yeah.
When the fun stops, stop.
So this happened in Netherbury, in Dorset.
How have you managed to hit such a run of ridiculous names? Netherbury, come on.
Netherbury in
this
Dorset.
Happened in Bumfruit. How are you doing it?
And there was a rich man, and he lived near a church. And every night, a local village girl would go to the not the lobby. What's it called?
We go to the lobby.
The lobby of a church. What's the lobby? The bit of the.
I think I've been in a church.
Well, you'd put the church
foyer?
Concierge, the foyer, the church foyer,
the church foyer,
the reception. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she would sing. Yeah. She would sing her songs, And this really annoyed the rich bloke who lived next door because it's just annoying having a girl. Presumably she wasn't very good at singing.
I live between 3 churches, and Sundays are a nightmare. There's just I think you've praised him enough, guys. Just
Between
he
the 3 of
knows.
you.
First of all, he knows everything. So could we praise him with a less expensive sound system, maybe? Do we need amplification, considering he's everywhere at all times?
Well, this guy had a very similar vibe to you. This infuriated him, and maybe you could use this as a method to get them to stop.
I'm going to.
What he did was one night he wrapped himself in a sheet and went down to the graveyard to pretend to be a ghost to scare her off. Mm-hmm. And when she saw him, she said, "Oh, hello, Mr. White Ghost. And hello, Mr. Black Ghost behind you. Oh, Mr. Black Ghost behind you is chasing Mr. White Ghost." And he ran home, and apparently all his skin fell off from shock.
He was literally scared out of his skin.
That's a new drinking game.
According to Mike Reeve, who, as you know, knows about these things, the lobby of a church is called the narthex, which is a phrase nobody has ever heard, apart from Mike Reeve and us. The narthex.
Narthex.
Wow. So his skin fell off from shock.
All of his skin fell off.
Disgusting. Was he okay afterwards?
Well, he didn't have any skin at all.
Yeah. So did he live? Can you survive that?
I think he lived, but I think he just let the girls. What? No skin at all?
Yeah, because it's your biggest organ, isn't it? Your skin. So you can't live without it, can you? Think of the fluff.
No, I guess not.
Think of just the lint.
Well, because he was already wrapped in a sheet. It would. Oh,
it would stick. Oh, it would stick. Mucky. Something awful.
Oh, nasty. So, probably died then. Okay, so basically, don't pretend to be a ghost. Here's another story to back that up from your friend and yours, the Palatinate County of Durham.
James, can I stop you? I need to go for a wee. I didn't have a chance to have a wee because of all the tech problems. Can you just entertain the chat for 2 minutes? All right, back in a second.
I will entertain the chat for 2 minutes. What Alasdair doesn't know is no, it's see, he normally reads the words. I have to look over here to read the words, and then I'm looking up at you. But this is where your words come in, and my computer's really rubbish because I'm in a shed, so I've not really got very good connection here. I really don't want people to imitate a ghost or mess around with gibbets. That's my message, I think, for this evening. Don't play with corpses, not just for sanitary reasons, for moral ones. It seems rude, and it seems you're messing with forces beyond your control or beyond understanding, and you could very well find yourself in a barn 5 miles away. I mean, this is a long way. If I'm honest, I'm a little bit worried this is part of some sort of elaborate April Fool's joke, and I'm about to get pranked or punked, which is American for pranked. Punked. Unfortunately, Alasdair, my chat went down.
Oh.
So I've just been giving them a few Shakeshaft thoughts. I suppose that was a Shakeshaft life hack. Don't mess around with corpses.
The chat is speculating. I think the chat thinks that was a setup, and that I'm going to hilariously appear in the background of your shot or something and freak you out. Or come back in with a different outfit on, which did not happen because it was not set up, and
Jesus.
I did just need a wee. Sorry about that. No, you'll have to
Full
wait
week.
for Christmas, Jesus. You'll have to wait for Christmas for that.
Okay,
So that was very unprofessional. But I guess the chat knows I have a tiny bladder. But
very small.
it's not. It's what you do with it, isn't it? And I use it to store urine. So
Yeah, empty it regularly.
and whenever possible. So
Alasdair, your friend and yours, this final warning comes from your friend and yours, the Palatinate County of Durham.
Oh yes.
A small town or village, I'm not sure which, called Tudhoe.
Tudder. It is not pronounced Tudhoe. You have revealed yourself to be an outsider, James. It's pronounced Tudder. If you say Tudhoe in Tudder, then you're in trouble. You may as well say Prudhoe in Prudder.
No
or
way.
Coxhoe in Coxer. There's Tudder.
Well, I wouldn't
Prudder
do
and
that.
Coxer.
What is an earth then? Is it a river or a hill or something?
I don't know.
Well, in Tudor, some farmers were having a dinner for the harvest, and they ran out of booze. They bought a load of booze, but they ran out of it. So they sent a servant to one of the sort of stable hands who was a little bit, he wasn't one of their mates.
Yeah,
he was just like, go on, you go and get it. You go and get the beer.
The one you'd probably send to get tartan paint or a long stand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Skyhooks.
Yes, exactly.
But they actually did want that beer.
Oh, yeah.
And while he was out, one of them apparently swore a deep oath to scare him, and went out near a place called Nickinack Field.
Okay. Nickinack Field.
And Nickinack Field.
Mm-hmm.
It's where they grow the Nickinacs.
Yep.
Which is like the little Portland shepherdess and stuff like that. And those sort of crystal animals that my aunt has.
I loved those as a child.
They had like a special display case.
Growing 90s crisps is the main export. It's the main export of the region is 90s crisps. There's knickknacks. We've got opposite that.
I've never had a knickknack.
What's Its Meadow, Space Raider Hill. All of the classics.
And the Crisp Lagoon.
And of course the Nerds and Dweebs mine.
So one of them went out in a sheet to scare the person.
All right.
Pretending to be a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And never came back.
Oh.
The servant turned up at the farm, terrified. Said he'd been walking back with the beer, and he saw coming towards him a white spirit, looking all scary.
Yeah.
And behind that white spirit, a black spirit.
Wow, that's kind of arguably
and he
the same as the
called
last
out,
story. But okay.
Yeah, and he called out, "Black spirit, get the white spirit," and ran away. Oops. And when they went out looking in Nickinack Field, all they found were a few tatters of sheet, and I'm guessing dust.
Some speculative dust.
And the person who played that prank was never seen again.
Wow. So by proof
be need be.
If need be, proof be booby. Be need be. Yeah. Chromo123 is asking, do people misunderstand shadows? But it was nighttime, you see. So
yes.
So explain that. You can't have a shadow at night, can you? Everything's a shadow, unless there's a moon out, in which case you can.
That's or if you've got a torch.
Yep. Or straight.
Could argue that most things are shadows at night time. If you didn't really understand how shadows work.
An important lesson, I think.
It's nights, actually. You know what? Night's a kind of shadow.
Yeah, but it's the Earth's shadow. Yeah. This has got very sort of late night student house chat. Where it's like, actually like the night is a kind of shadow.
Yes, but that's a warning to you. Don't pretend to be a corpse. a ghost. Don't mock the gibbeted.
Don't mock the
It's
gibbeted.
not fun.
Yeah.
Don't mock the gibbeted. James Shakeshaft life hack. Don't mock the gibbeted.
Don't mock the gibbeted. And also, night's a kind of shadow. James Shakeshaft observation.
I think that could go one of them motivational quotes.
That's the thing with your comedy. The observations are there, but they are quite general sometimes.
Yeah. It's very observational, but it is.
Nobody can claim that it isn't based on an observation. Definitely not.
So those are my warnings from history.
Incredible, powerful warnings, terrifying, and amusing pranks.
Yeah, but that's the danger of pranks. That's weird.
And
I don't like
ye
the term
not, lest
jokes.
ye be pranked.
Yes,
as Jesus Christ, ultimate prankster, famously said.
Yeah, big time prankster.
Yeah. Oh, I'm dead. A couple of days later, who is it? Everyone was like,
"Put your finger in this, Thomas." Woo!
Oh, it was like David Blaine, Street Magic. Everyone was going like, "Oh, you didn't," and just sort of running around in impressedness. It was incredible. Except for that one guy who was like, "No, let me have a
squelch.
Can I get my finger in there, please?"
Well, that's our Easter message as well, I suppose. Considering it's Easter.
I'd forgotten it was Easter. There you go, a little doubting Thomas.
I thought that was why you were going to come back just as baby Jesus.
Yeah,
baby Jesus.
That would have been good, wouldn't it? Yeah, or if I'd just not come back for 3 days, that would have been also good. Appropriately Eastery.
So, should we find out? What's the real story?
So, Fennis has suggested that Mock the Gibbeted is the new comedy panel show on GB News.
Yeah,
combining hot button satire with capital punishment in a way only Daily Mail readers will enjoy. I like that. So let's you want to do the find out the thing you've been trailing before we do the scores?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Should we do that?
Let's do.
Oh.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. Sorry.
What do you think in the chat?
Don't ask them. They don't know what they want. They're gonna say terrible jokes, and we're gonna get bad advice.
They're gonna get annoyed.
It's very unfair to say they're gonna do terrible jokes, which are of at least an equal standard to the actual jokes that we do in the podcast. So I would like to retract that. And also, I read out about 5 of them per live stream. So I retract that. Trebeks.
Which one? What do you want to go with?
I think we should. Let's do the find out. Let's find out what was the real story, and we'll do the scores.
Okay.
And a lot of people are voting for different ones. Anyway, go for it, James.
Triggs. It wasn't the devil himself exploding a witch.
Actually, I've just realised they were begging for a poll.
2 horses.
They were begging for me to do a poll, but you've started to reveal it before I managed to do a poll. So
I don't know how you do that.
Don't know how to do a poll.
How do you do it? Do you know how you do a poll?
I don't know how to do that.
We should have prepped it. Really.
I should have prepped it. Didn't prep it.
Because you're going to be typing.
Yep. And what I'll probably do is just edit this bit out of the podcast so nobody knows that this happened. So let's hear hear it. Which one of those 4 stories was true?
It wasn't the devil exploding a witch named Mistress Demelza into pieces in the inn.
Nonsense.
The 2 horses.
It wasn't. Couldn't happen. 2 horses. Unrealistic.
It wasn't the giant hog and the little pig.
No.
Savaging a little pig in God Manchester.
It wasn't pig on pig violence.
No.
Okay.
We were obliged to put that in by our sponsor, Big Pig.
I think someone in the chat actually did that joke earlier. The big hog.
Oh, what?
The sponsor of the podcast. Yeah. Now you're unwittingly doing jokes that the chat has suggested.
Not as good as the ones in the chat. Not as good versions.
Outrageous.
But in my version of the joke, Big Pig is not like an organisation or anything. It's just a person called Big Pig. It wasn't Mother Roscoe giving birth to a twig in the stables. It was the tree ghost with the secret
room full of bats. So I was right. I was right then.
Yes, you were right all along.
As were many people in the chat there. Except for the ones who were still guessing that it was the hog after you said that it wasn't the hog. But there is a time delay.
They're in thrall of Big Pig.
That's the thing. We live in a post-truth era. If you want it to be the pig, it can be the pig. So how did she get a whole secret room full of bats?
It was the place that she used. I think it was a Lady Ferrers who showed up in another story, but I don't know if it's the same Lady Ferrers. Mm-hmm. She became a highwaywoman because she got divorced. I mean, I'm gleaning this from Law of the Land.
Yeah, that's how these things happen, isn't it? The classic progression. You get divorced, then
become a highwaywoman, die, and then swing in a tree as a ghost. Mm-hmm. And your house burns down multiple times. And one of the times, builders found a secret room that was full of bats.
Right. Now that you've said that there, I'm not convinced that she filled that room with bats so much as that the secret room, that the bats filled it with them because they lived there, James. That I think you've tricked me.
I don't think there's any evidence that she didn't.
No, I suppose not. In
the same way, there is no evidence that woman didn't give birth to a twig. The evidence.
It's very hard to prove
it was made up by a computer.
Do we know what kind of twig it was?
Should have thought of a pun for that. Yeah.
Wooden. Okay.
It was an easy birch. It's almost spelt the same, but it doesn't sound in any way the same.
I think that's quite good. Yeah, that's one of those written down puns.
We'll tweet it.
I think
you can tweet it.
We are moving towards the final section of the live stream and podcast, and now I think we need to ask the stream for suggestions for what the categories should be. Obviously, we will do naming, and we will do supernatural.
Yes.
But what other categories will we have? And how, James? How are we going to fill the dead air between me saying that and the suggestions actually appearing in the chat window?
I'm going to go for a wee.
Are you actually going to go for a wee? You're going to...
No. That would be cruel.
I can't believe you would do that to me. Everyone knows you have a vast and capacious bladder. You're well known for it.
I'm just pissing here. I'm a professional.
A lot of people are suggesting
that's what my third denim's for. I think soups and stews.
Yes, there's soups and stews, and there's story voices. Though I'm not sure we've done any more in this podcast than we normally do. We do that quite a lot, don't we? Soup. I think soup is a good category, and gibbets. Mike Reeves coming with gibbets. He's a smart guy, and
bad accents.
Bad accents. Well, if you want to get a 0 out of 5.
Someone's after a 0 round.
A lot of people are backing up the bad accent thing. This is starting to feel like cyberbullying.
I think that was bad accents was suggested by TK 2000, who I think is jealous of all the Trey Bake chat.
Yeah. I think so. Trey Bake.
Zombies on the shed roof.
And Smash Frogs.
It's still there because I've not heard it shamble off.
Oh. So, what about the categories?
So,
naming supernatural, gibbets, and whatever you choose, and soups. Yeah, sounds good. All right.
Yeah. Okay. So, got to be naming.
I'm going to set you up for the scores first, so I don't have to re-record this later. But apologies to the chat people for this little window into how recording a podcast works. So I'm ready to score your tales of hoaxery and I'm going to do a better version of that. That was awful. That wasn't even a sentence. It had hoaxery in it. James, those were cracking tales. I'm ready to score them. What are your categories?
Okay, first up, easy win, naming.
Naming. Like, being April Fools, I want to check whether these places were real, because I feel like you...
I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't make up actual names.
I would not.
What was it called? Knob Butter? What was that? What was it called?
The Palatinate County of Durham.
All right, I've heard of that place, yeah.
Netherbury, Nicky Nackfield.
Nicky Nackfield?
burp ham.
Burp ham, the worst flavour of ham.
Brampton in Huntingdonshire.
All right, you're getting nothing for that, obviously. It's
Wally.
Wally. It's 5 out of 5 just for Nicky Knackfield.
Nicky Knackfield?
Nicky Knackfield? Never heard such nonsense.
Brilliant then. I'm going to take that 5 out of 5 away with me. Supernatural.
Supernatural. Well, you were clever because there were 2 actual ghosts, weren't there? You were clever not to choose us because, like, if I'd been in your shoes, your wee-filled boots.
My smelly shoes.
If I'd been in your denim shoes, then I would have just picked pure hoaxes, like my frog in a rock, which is very much the bug in a nut of stones.
Of frogs.
And
rocks.
I can't remember if we mentioned bug in a nuts in
an
episode that has gone out yet. Yeah, guys, that was a call. That was the very rare comedy call forward to something that you haven't heard yet. So when you hear that and then listen back to this episode, that's going to be very amusing. I would have just chosen hoaxes, and you cleverly squeezed 2 ghosts in. So I'm giving you a 3 out of 5. 2 for the ghosts and 1 for the cleverness.
Oh, thank you very much. There you
go.
I'm supernaturally clever.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Number 4, gibbets.
3, perhaps. Third category.
Number. I just was really proud that you very much the example there of pride coming before a 4.
So many moral lessons in this episode. What's the next category?
The third one, gibbets.
Gibbets. Oh,
gibbets or gibbets.
Or gibbets. We're pronouncing it gibbets.
Gib.
Oh, it's a horrible idea, isn't it? Leaving people there. I mean, I'll be honest. I've let washing up sit for a while in my time, and that was, that's bad enough. Like an old bowl of cornflakes that you just leave. Imagine if there was a dead human in there.
A dead criminal.
The worst kind of human. A dead highwayman or woman. A dead highway person would be the gender-neutral version of that.
And a dead highwayman woman.
Yes. Oh. So how many gibbets were there? You told me about 4 stories. So was there a gibbet in every one of those stories?
There was a gibbet that crumbled to dust.
Yep.
In Burpham. There was just a...
Burpham? I hardly know her. Sorry. Doesn't really work.
It was just a mortuary and a coffin in Whalley.
Okay, maybe
there were
half.
And then there was 2.
That's somewhat sort of charnel related.
There were 2 more gibbets in the 2 people going mad from having gibbet from being scared at a gibbet.
Yes, of course.
Those were 2 different gibbet stories that I found. So I'm just 3. That's all the gibbets.
That's 3 and half of a little.
And I was going to say the gibbet in the picture, but the bloody chat.
And the chat has pointed out that the picture.
Stitch me up up.
I've really stitched you up there by unsuccessfully looking for a picture of a gibbet and then being distracted by a picture of a funny skeleton. So I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that, James.
So 3.
So I think I'm afraid it's going to have to be 3 gibbets. I'd love to give you more, but let's imagine it was 5, and then over time, weather has
crumbled away.
The process of putrefaction. The process of putrefaction has withered it to a stinky, rotten 3.
And the addition of too much soups has also sort of washed it away.
Yeah, the acidic.
Which brings us to the final category, soups and stews.
Soups and stews.
Soups and stews.
Well, in a sense, you are making a sort of a horrible man soup with a gibbet, aren't you? You've got a little sort of almost
strain in it.
Yeah, almost like when you've got fancy loose leaf teas and you have a little cage for them for dipping them into the tea. It's like A little man stock, a little highwayman stew.
There's that little sort of bundle of herbs in a muslin that you put in a stew.
Exactly.
It's got a French name, so I won't ask you to Google it.
Le sac de num num.
Sac du goût.
So he's like a human bay leaf there.
Yes, exactly.
And of course, Beefle Geefle is pointing out that the mashed frog is not exactly a stew, but certainly in a pickle.
It's more. If it was on your plate, it's more soup than it is steak.
Yes, it's maybe a cold soup like a gazpacho or a dip.
Yeah.
It's more of a dip, really, isn't it? It's more in a sort of crisps and dip area than a soup per se. And Unrepentant 76 points out quite accurately that an exploding witch is a form of very fast stew. Yep.
Yeah, and
apparently according to the user called Trebex, the French name is a sachet de pieces, which means not sachet of pieces, but a sachet of spices.
I'm not sure I'll buy it.
Yeah, a sack of pieces. That's what you get if you had a big bag in the two horses at the right time.
And there was some porridge. Is porridge sort of a breakfast, or does porridge count as a soup?
Is porridge a soup? It's a kind of an oat soup. Yeah. I mean, I had porridge for breakfast this morning.
Is cereal
I'm Scottish and it's mandatory?
A breakfast stew.
Yeah. Yeah. And as Vanessa is pointing out, a few of the mad lads, a few of the classic banter merchants probably were called stew. You know? Like there's at least one stew in that crowd. I think it's a 5 out of 5.
Yes. Soups and stews.
Oh, Betty and Potter is coming with an alternate French name. The bouquet garni, garnished bouquet.
Oh, that was the one I was thinking of. Oh. That's the one I've heard of.
Bouquet garni.
Ouais.
Very nice, delicious.
Du criminal. An infusion of highway person.
Well, what a disgusting but instructive episode this has been, James.
And what you can do is you can go back to recording and listen to the little message that I gave people while you were dans la toilette.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a little message for everyone there.
Have you prank-ed me in some way? Are you playing the long game here?
Oh no, I did do an impression of Jeremy Beadle as you left, but then realised that not many people remember who that person is.
Yep. Or
will have ever known who that person is.
All flesh is grass, isn't it, James? You know, you can be the most important man of your times, as Jeremy Beadle was.
I thought that was one of his catchphrases.
All flesh is grass.
Yes, you've been framed. Beadle's about all flesh is grass.
Yeah, and where he would prank members of the public and remind them of their own mortality.
Yeah, he'd sort of hide behind gibbets.
Oh, Jeremy.
Beadle's about. Rest in peace.
Yeah, R.I.P. Jeremy Beadle.
What if you tried to prank his corpse?
James, I have to be clear on behalf of the Loremen, we are not advocating you pranking the corpse of Jeremy Beadle. That is not something we're asking listeners to do.
We've warned against it. We have warned against it.
We couldn't have been more clear. Let's just get the apology ready now. I'm so sorry about what happened, and while not accepting any legal responsibility for whatever hilarious prank happened to Jeremy Beadle's corpse.
Yeah, I'm sorry if anyone was offended by the pranks that were.
I'm sorry if you felt like you were exhumed, Jeremy, and put on a bus with a "I'm just napping" sign or something. I'm sorry if that was how you felt. It wasn't our intention.
I'm sorry if you felt it was in bad taste to staple a beard onto a policeman's outfit. We'd better go because we're gonna get in some serious trouble.
Yeah, I'm sure that this is against the Twitch terms of service. So please don't report us, and do check out this when it becomes editor's into podcast form with all of the slander and actionable content removed.
Yeah, and the calls to action.
and the clear incitement to criminality. We'll have removed that as well.
Let's incite people to good things.
Yes.
The Patreon.
Yeah, what's this here?
You're probably all Patreons, though, aren't you? In
probably
here?
Are, yeah.
But you get stuff. You'll get some dust. Stickers. I've got a T-shirt. I think we're gonna get some of these. I'm just a bit bleached out though. We're gonna get some more T-shirts done up. We do have some Big L T-shirts at the moment.
Oh yeah. On
coffee, and those are all the things.
Yeah.
And just remember my advice about them. You know.
Is this your secret advice that you told during the gap?
Mm.
Okay. I wish I knew.
I became very avuncular.
Okay. All right.
But about not messing with corpses.
Okay. Well, I'm very excited. Excited and feel a weird bit sick as well.
Mm.
Well, I would like to say an enormous thank you to Mike Grieve for creating the folklore generator that gave us such fun today and every day. And to everybody in the chat, even the people who criticised what I think were some quite good accents.
Yes.
Have I said that in magnanimous enough a way?
Yeah, in a way. I'm sorry if you felt this was an offensive accent.
Yes, I said absolutely the same to South Africans. I apologise because you guys are flipping scary and I do not want you on my case, basically. That's the situation we're in. Absolutely terrifying mad bastards, that's what you are. White South Africans is what I'm talking about. Anyway, almost all of them crazy. Anyway, that's all I'm saying. An entire. Anyway, let's leave it. Back to the thank yous. Thank you so much. Back to the French. Yeah, but the thing about the French. Thank you so much, Lawfolk, and thank you for saying thank you to us. That's so nice. I'm going to stop the stream and play the tunes now. James, would you like to say goodbye? Bye.
Wish me luck if I get jumped by a zombie.
I hope you're going to be okay, James. But if you're not, I'm glad I'm not there. Bye.